All right, welcome to this week's classwork walkthrough. Our assignment has been in on pages 137 to 139, also known as PSI, Problem Solving Investigation. We're going to go through these 6 cases, and we'll start with number 1. Case number 1. Hector and Alex traded video games. Alex gave Hector 1/4 of his video games, and in exchange, he got 6 video games. Then he sold 3, and he gave 2 video games to his brother. Alex ended up with a total of 16 games. How many video games did Alex have when he started? Okay, number 1, we need to understand the facts. We know that he ends up with 16 games, and he gave some away, sold some, and traded some. You start with the ending, the 16 games, and then you're going to have to add the games back in. 16 plus 2 would be 18, plus 3 would be 21. Now it gets really complicated here, and you go to the next one. The number is 3/4 of his games times here, and then subtract the games here. As we've gone through during the week, we found a slightly easier way to do this, to still work backwards, by making a table and doing some guessing and checking. Let's create a table here where we know that his ending games has to end up being 16. Okay. So if we go through, we do some guessing and checking, then we know that being at 16 is going to be our goal from whatever we start with. Well, we know that to get to 16, previous to that, he had subtracted 2. And previous to that, he had subtracted 3. So whatever we started with, you got to take out the 2 and take out the 3. And then we have a starting amount, and he gives away 1/4 of your beginning number. So let's say that we start with, here in this column, and we're looking at this number 1/4. So if we're going to do a guess and check, we're still working backwards. Plus, we're doing a little guess and check. These are great strategies, and you use these all the time in career and school. Okay, so if we're going to be multiplying by a 4th, we should think of numbers that are multiple, that can be easily reduced. So we're thinking of 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Now this is a pretty big number over here. We're going to be subtracting some out. So let's start with 32 games. Okay, and now he ended up with 1/4 of them. So 1/4 of 32 is 8 games he gave away. So it's going to be 32 minus 8, but then he gets 6 more. So 32 minus 8, but then he gets plus 6 more back. So that number is going to be equal to 32 minus 8 is 24, plus 6 is 30, minus 3 is 27, minus 2 is 25. That does not work out to be 16. Let's go down to the next one, 28. So 1/4 of those would be 7. So he has 28 minus 7, but he gets 6 back. which equals 21, 27. Minus 3 is 24. Minus 2 is 22, which does not equal 16. Let's try 24. 1/4 of those games would be 24 minus 6 plus 6 is 24. Minus 3 more is 21. Minus 2 more is 19. Doesn't work out. Let's try 20 games. 1/4 of those would be 20 minus 5 plus you get 6 back. So that's 15 plus 6 is equal to 21. Then you subtract out 3 more is 18. Subtract out 2 more is 16. Which means that he began with 20 games. Okay, now go ahead and work through in their columns here and knowing that basis of information. There is a tutor available for you in your book online. If you go to Chapter 2, after Lesson 3, you'll see something called PSI. Click on that and then click on the icon that looks like this, and they'll walk you through a time one that fits with the schedule over here on case 4. All right, let's move on to case study 2. Aurora raised some money for a whitewater rafting trip. JC made the first donation, then Guillermo's donation was twice JC's donation, and then Rosa's mom came in and tripled what Aurora had needed. And now Aurora has 120. Okay. So as we walk through this, I need to find how much money was donated by JC and Guillermo, and then finally Rosa's mother. Underlining some key words. What information do you know? I know JC was the first donation. Guillermo's was twice JC's donation, and Rosa tripled what both of them had given. So information that you do not need to know and plan. We're going to use this, we could use working backwards strategy. We know that she ends up with $120. And then we have a relationship here with JC and Guillermo. JC, let's say she gives some money, and we know that Guillermo gave double that. And then we know that mom comes along, and she triples their donation. Well, what does that look like? It's 3 times x plus 2x. Okay? Don't forget we need to, now we can solve it for x, which would be JC is x, donation. And then from there we can find Guillermo's and we can find mom's. Let's remember to distribute the 3. We have 120 equals x plus 2x plus 3x plus 6x. So that's a 1. We're going to add the coefficients. We have $120. And 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 6, that's 12x. So now we have x would have to equal 10 after we divide by 12. So we know that JC gave $10. We can now use that information to find Guillermo's contribution, and then the remaining amount was given by mom. Problem case number 3, financial literacy. Janelle has $75. She buys jeans that are discounted 30% and then uses an in-store coupon for $10 off the discounted price. After paying $3.26 in sales tax, she receives some money in change, $17.34. What was the original price of the jeans? Okay, so this is a pretty challenging problem here. Let's begin by knowing that since she got $17.34 in change, we know that she came in with $75. And if I subtract out the money that she had left, $17.34, I'm going to use my calculator here. 75 minus 17.34 leaves me with $57.66. If you don't have a calculator, put a 00. You need to start borrowing. That's how much she spent on the jeans. But now we have to account for some of the things that also went into that. So we need to remember that we have to subtract out that some of that cost was state tax, $3.26. That's the state tax. And that leaves us with 40 cents, $54.40. But there was also a coupon used, so we have to add that back in. We need to add the $10 coupon. That gets us to $64.40. Now that was, she got a 30% discount. So this price here represents 70% of the original cost. So we can do it two ways. One way would be that 64.40 equals 70% of the original cost, and then you would divide by 0.70. And your X would equal 64.40 divided by 0.7 is $92. The other way to do is in 7th grade, you've learned is over of equals percent over 100. Well, okay, it is 64.40 over X equals 70 over 100. Do that math, and you're going to get the same thing. X equals $92. You cross multiply. Okay, case number 4. Schedule. Okay, it says Nyoko needs to be at school at 7:45 a.m. It takes her 15 minutes to walk to school, 5/12 of an hour to eat breakfast, 0.7 hour to get dressed, and 0.15 hour to shower. And then it says, what time should she get up to be 5 minutes early? So we're going to work backwards from 7:45. And we need to first, she needs to have 15 minutes to walk. That takes us to 7:30. And then 5/12 of an hour for, well, let's go back to here. Oh yeah, we can go here. 5/12 of an hour to eat breakfast. So let's do breakfast. 5/12 of an hour times 60 minutes. That's 25 minutes. That takes us to 7:05. And next we need to go backwards and do the 0.7 hour for dressing times 60 minutes is 42 minutes if you use your calculator. So we subtract 42 minutes and we get 6:23 a.m. And then she needs 5/12 of an hour. Sorry, I've already done breakfast. I did the dressing. I need the 0.15 hour to shower. 0.15 times 60 is going to be 9 minutes, I believe. So if I subtract 9 minutes, I get down to 6:14 a.m. And then she wants to get there early by 5 minutes. So you subtract out another 5 minutes, and you get 6:09 a.m. She has to get up very early. Okay, next up, we have case 5, financial literacy. We have some, at the end of the month, Mr. Copley has $1,473.61 in his checking account. His checkbook shows all these transactions. Now, these are minuses to his checkbook. These are pluses to his checkbook. So we're going to need to go ahead and do that. At the end of the month, he starts with $1,473.61. So for the deposits, we're going to have to take those out. So we have, it looks like 150 and 250 is 150 and 250 is a total of $400 of deposit. So we're going to subtract out the 400. That takes us to 1,073.61. And then for the withdrawals, we'll add those back in. So I apologize, my eyesight, I don't have my glasses. I believe that says 45.70 withdrawal. 45.70, 162, and I think that says 1848. So if I add these up, 45.70 plus 162 plus 1848 is $164.80. So those I'll add back in, and I get 1, 4, carry the 1. That's 8 decimal point. 7 is 6, 13, carry the 1, 2. He should have started the month with $1,238.41 the month before. So again, you can see this is a very real life situation that you are going to often see. And finally, we'll go to case 6. Here we have a square and a square, a little bigger square, and that's a bigger square, and then that's a bigger square. And we have to look at the pattern here. Well, we know that this is only one square, and this is 4 squares, and that's 9, and that's 16. So we can start seeing a pattern. Well, what do we know about these? 1 squared, these numbers are perfect squares. 2 squared, 3 squared, and 4 squared. Or another way you could look at it is, this is a square that's 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, and 4 by 4. So the next one, of course, would have to be 5 by 5, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down, and this would be 25. It'd be a 5 by 5. And you could expect the next one would be a 36, and you can draw it as a 6 by 6. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 by 6. Okay, so that completes the classwork review. I hope this helps, and make sure you get your assignment turned in by tomorrow.